So, why did Highlander leave Lionsgate to go to Amazon? Well, apparently Lionsgate basically doubted Henry Cavill's box office pull, which actually wouldn't be a bad bet, right? That's not a bad thing to look for, a decision to come to when it comes to business. You know, Henry Cavill hasn't had a ton of success at the box office. Not that he, isn't a good actor, not that he doesn't have a fan base or anything like that, but does he have the broader appeal needed for a blockbuster hit? No, not really, although Amazon seems to love him. I think he's a good actor. I like to see him in stuff, so this isn't a hate train for sure. But Amazon have got him in loads of stuff, right? Highlander, they took Highlander off Lionsgate. They've got the Voltron movie happening there as well, if I remember rightly. Also, the great grand Gears of War thing, if that's ever going to happen. Among other things, I mean, even this image here is from Ungentlemanly Warfare, which was an Amazon one, right? I think it was an MGM and then Amazon. So let's take a look. So this is all courtesy of the Wrap. They've got a really a big article on it all, but you've got to be a Wrap member and blah 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 blah. So I'm not going to go down that road. But they basically say, they have an interesting expose on the decision behind Henry Cavill's Highlander reboot jumping ship from Lionsgate to Amazon MGM, which I thought was I was really surprised. I was really, really, really surprised when that happened, because you'd think that that's a property that Lionsgate would see as potential, when nurtured right, when handled correctly, when handled with the right people, could have been a really big hit. I was surprised that they didn't see that. And I don't think it matters, who's in the lead, actually. I do genuinely think the Highlander could have been something. You got Chad Stahelski on board. I mean, that's huge. But part of it is the money, right? So apparently the story begins with the film's director, Chad Stahelski, who does have a working relationship with Lionsgate, so this is even more surprising. But he basically wanted a budget of $180 million to make the reboot. I mean, I am surprised by that. $180 million. I don't know where that money's going. For a Highlander movie, like Chad Stahelski's John Wick movies were made for basically no money at all, actually, believe it or not. And this is why it's surprising that he wanted that much money. John Wick in 2014, the original one, had a budget of between $20 to $30 million. That's why they've been able to keep making them. John Wick 2, John Wick 3, John Wick 4, John Wick 2 was 40 million. John Wick 3, 75, and then John Wick 4 was 100. I can't see why the Highlander movie needed $180 million. That is madness. That is legitimately insane for a Highlander movie. There's no way in hell it needs that. It doesn't need that much money. So I don't know whether the Wrap is correct in that or not, but that's dumb high if true. So Lionsgate reportedly wasn't willing to go a penny north of 165 million. You could have done it for 100, mate. I legitimately think you could have done this for $100 million. A movie that I like to go back to sort of use as a barometer in recent years, not that it's well loved or anything like that, but just how good it looked and the scope that it had, was The Creator. Now, that was a movie that had multiple different locations, fantastic visual effects, looked brilliant, all for $80 million. So you could do a Highlander film like for $100 million easy, like 100% you can. So it says this: on the surface, it's hard to imagine why a Highlander film would require such a robust budget, other than VFX. For the quickening, the film should be a standard martial arts action film intermixed with swordplay. And while Stahelski turned John Wick into a billion-dollar franchise, he made the first three films for $30 million, $40 million, and $75 million, respectively, like I just said. So the studio also had big concerns about the box office draw of Henry Cavill after several underperforming releases, including Argyle. That's not technically his fault, though, to be fair. The film carried a production costs of $70 to $80 million, and Apple paid $200 million to acquire the pick. Fuck. God, bet they hate that. The film grossed $96.2 million worldwide and premiered to subpar reviews. The studio reportedly also cited the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, which Lionsgate distributed in North America. So the 2024 action comedy war film grossed $29.7 million worldwide from a production budget of 60, which is disastrous. Like, that is really bad. Even though it's a pretty good film. I really enjoyed it. But that's terrible. So also, unnamed studio executives at Lionsgate told The Wrap that the studio worried that, quote, Highlander is a one-quadrant movie catering to Gen X males who remembered the original movie and the sequels and syndicated TV series that followed. Huh. I mean, we can have a look at some of this here over on Yahoo. I think this is quite a surprise. Some of this stuff is a surprise. I mean, $180 million is just dumb big. That's a dumb big movie. Lionsgate perceived loss could be Amazon's big gain, as the studio has recently amassed a portfolio full of projects based on long dormant 80s IP, including Master of the Universe and Voltron, enacting a strategy that could play directly to Gen Xers, who regularly frequent Prime Video's dad TV action shows like Reacher, Jack Ryan, Highlander, with its soundtrack full of jaunty Queen tunes, which Stahelski told The Wrap he intends to reuse, fits right in. Amazon MGM is establishing themselves as the kind of studio similar to what Warner Brothers was in the 90s and 2000s. And that's from producer Adrian Ascaria of the Hitman franchise and The Last Bear, told The Wrap. They put together an eclectic slate of original and IP-based big-budget and mid-budget movies, many of them driven by movie stars. Their presentation at April CinemaCon effectively emphasised this strategy, and I think it's exciting for the business and the creative community as a whole. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, they are really down with the 80s, it seems, which could be good, could be bad. But that's basically why it's gone. Right, that's why they decided, nope, we're not going to be doing that now. Lionsgate, no, we're not doing this. We're moving on. We're going to sell Highlander, and this is basically, you know, more of a conversation, I guess, about Amazon's new focus, which is 80s IP. I don't think Amazon are the right people for it, but with Jennifer Solke gone, could be good. Leave your thoughts down below, though. 180 million's dumb big, stupidly high. Thoughts down below.